back to another episode of Sady Says. I'm your host, Natalie Sady. Joining me today is the founder of LA Adopt, Yoko Senesac, and foster mom, Ann Drissel, and the most beautiful boy I've seen in a long time, Bosco. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming in, and thank you so much, Bosco, because I know this is a little stressful for you. So, Yoko, let me start with you. LA Adopt, tell us a little bit about it.
So LA Adopt is a all-breed animal rescue organization. We help animals from high-kill shelters, and we are a foster-based rescue only, which means that all of our dogs pulled are in a foster home commitment, and we help save lives of dogs and cats from the shelters.
Okay, so you don't actually have your own shelter. You work almost as a coordinator to get these animals out of these shelters into foster homes or forever homes.
Perfect, exactly. So we don't have an actual facility. And LA Adopt is like one big network. We also work with multiple rescue organizations, dog trainers, and it's just this one big network that we are counting on fosters to help us save lives because we don't have an actual facility.
Right, and so that's where people like Anne come in.
Yes.
So you foster dogs.
Yes.
You specialize in pit bulls, is
I
that
do.
correct?
Yes. They're my favorite. They're probably the only breed I would foster, just because so few of us are willing to take on such a big breed. So this is the ones that I specialize in.
Well, because that's the thing. I mean, I follow your Instagram page, which is
LA Adopt.
perfect. There you go. But there are so many pit bulls.
Yes.
And it's incredible. And people are naturally fearful of pit bulls, or I shouldn't say naturally fearful. It has been something that's been fed through the media and all of this, but people are fearful of pit bulls.
Right.
And yet you specialize in them.
I love them. I love them. My whole rescue life is dedicated towards them. I have 4 of my own.
You have 4 of your own,
Yes.
and you still foster.
I do, yes. So at any given time, I have 5 to 6 pit bulls in my home.
That's incredible. So obviously you're not fearful. What is it about the pit bulls that you love?
I think that they are just the most misunderstood breed. They want nothing more than just to be loved. I mean, look at this guy. This is Bosco in a nutshell. You know, he just wants to hang out and be with people. And they're so forgiving of everything, which is why they're so abused and so just treated badly. But you turn around and you pull one from a shelter and they just love you instantly. So they're better than a boyfriend would be.
Well,
Yes.
there are so many things to say about that line. I'm just going to leave it. And we're going to come back to Bosco in a minute. But Yoko, why are there so many pit bulls
Why is there so many pit bulls
that are in need of rescue? Sorry, I should have finished that sentence.
that are in need? What do you
and there
say?
are so many
Yeah.
pit bulls. They are overbred. You know, they come from backyard breeders.
Yes, exactly.
They're bred for so many different reasons, and people don't understand the responsibility of a pit bull or a dog in general, right?
And what it takes to own a pit bull.
Yeah, so if they do one thing wrong, they're instantly dumped at the shelter or they're instantly blamed.
Right.
You know, whereas a Chihuahua or a Shih Tzu may go to training or may get second chances. People aren't as willing to give these guys a second chance.
But isn't that all they need?
Yes,
Just training?
training in the right environment.
Yes, in the right environment. And the resource is available for these, for the community, for the dogs. There is so many people that want to help so we could avoid having more dogs in the shelter. And we do offer programs and we do offer help for these animals so we can get them out of the shelter, not even before they go in, you know,
Yes.
and really help the community with all the options they have.
Well, I mean, he is clearly a scary animal. I mean, have a look at that.
Obviously, this is why. This is, you know, this is how he is. He just wants to hang out and snuggle.
So on your Instagram page and Facebook pages, majority of animals, from what I've seen, because you try and save many animals, not just dogs, it's cats, I've seen rabbits and the whole gamut, but majority of them seem to be pit bulls. Is that a thing with the shelters that they're just not it's them that's not willing to put in the work, or there are so many more pit bulls being dumped? Like what's going on?
Why is this like so high
Yeah.
number? And if anybody walks into an animal shelter, let's say at 150, I would say about 90% of them would be pit bulls. And it's just the breed that we advocate. If it's any other breed, we'd advocate for them too. But just the amount of pit bulls in the shelter, and like you said, backyard breeding or an owner surrender. And number one reason is owner surrender, people moving. Instead of moving to an area where they are allowed. So let's say that maybe, you can't live in a certain situation anymore. You have to move, but then now they have breed restriction. Not only we fight with that, but now we're dealing with landlords and policies and breed restrictions. So we do understand the situations when people do have to move but there are places that allow bully breeds and that will allow this. So just finding the right place for your dog is, the best way to do it.
I personally always struggle with that sort of mentality, only because anytime I have had an animal in my life, once I make that commitment, we're in it.
Right.
It's ride or die.
Right.
Exactly. You would think that's for everybody. But
Right. And I think the breed restriction's huge.
It's huge.
Landlords don't understand that there are insurance policies out there that do cover these guys. They just don't want to take the extra step to research it.
And what Delta just did, they banned pit bulls.
Right.
Yes.
Even the service animals. So, this is what we constantly fight for.
Right.
We're going one step forward and one step backwards. And it's just this breed.
Is it a case of when something happens, there has to be seen to be an immediate reaction? So therefore, if there is an attack of some sort, it doesn't matter whether the animal wasn't socialized, trained, whatever, but government or council or whoever says, right, we have to do something, so therefore that's what we're doing, just banning.
Yes.
Banning. And that's just what they, this is what they deal with constantly.
And we consistently blame the wrong end of the leash. So it's 90% of the time, it's human error that causes this issue. But nobody wants to
Admit
own up
that.
to. It's easier to blame them who doesn't have a voice and can't.
I've seen atrocious ownership of smaller dogs. The difference is they're able to walk in, pick up the animal and walk away, and that's it. With an animal like this, because they are powerful, if you don't have that understanding, it's a lot more difficult to be able to get that control back if you haven't trained the animal.
Exactly.
Okay, so going back to shelters for a moment, why are we not able to sort of live in a world where we don't have kill shelters anymore?
We are working towards that, and it is getting better.
It is?
It really is.
I think, it is. But I think overpopulation and not spaying and
neuter.
That's the key, is spaying and neutering and owner responsibility. If we are responsible human owners, we take accountability for our dogs. We make sure that they're spayed and neutered. There are no accidental litters.
And
there's
also
no
microchipping, tagging your dogs.
Boscos.
Yes.
We have July 4th coming around the corner. The biggest, highest intake, and probably all across shelters, is because people's pets leave from the scared of the fireworks, from the noises. The animals are not tagged. They don't have microchip. They don't have collar. They end up at a shelter somewhere.
But do people not come looking for these animals?
Not always.
Not always.
Which is another side of it.
I just don't understand.
So even for the July 4th, people could help, even if it's just a 4-day foster, just for the weekend. If they can go to their local shelter and just say, I could temporary foster because we know the amount of intake that's coming in to help reduce the number of kill. We could, even if it's for a couple days, during the July 4th week, it would save a lot of lives.
Okay, so highest intake is over July 4th weekend. Is that also the highest kill time at these shelters?
For space.
Yes. Because
Even if it's like a low kill, it's for space. There's no other reason besides full capacity.
Right. And what is it that a foster needs to be able to do or prove or demonstrate for you to be able to come in and help out?
Well, as a foster,
As a foster, just respond. It's very easy. I say it's very easy to be a foster, but it's basically just committing to them especially for July 4th, we call it Foster for the 4th.
Okay.
It's just a very simple, hey, take this guy into your home, keep him safe, keep him in a separate environment if at all possible, for a week. So you feed them, you walk them, you give them water, that's it. keep them separated from your pack if need be,
Yeah.
preferably, just because they've now been in this very scary situation. They don't know where they're at. And that's it. And you just keep them safe for the week, and then after that week is over and the shelter activity has calmed down a bit, they bring them back to the shelter. Of course, we wouldn't like them to come back to the shelter, but realistically, that saves so many lives.
That saves lives.
Because now there's space for all the intakes on July 4th.
For people's pets coming in.
Yeah.
And that's all it is. It's now combining with shelter pets, people's personal pets coming in. And like she said, just by fostering few days.
And with fostering with pit bulls, do you need people to have worked with the breed before or worked with larger
Not
dogs?
necessarily.
No?
Not
But we help,
necessarily.
you know,
we will provide everything that they need, the support, the education, the supplies.
we
everything
have a
that they need.
foster program that we really, even if it's from beginners to advanced, you know, for advanced people, maybe they could handle dogs or it has to be rescue only, or
Sure.
maybe dogs with certain behavioral issues. But let's say first-time fosters, we definitely want first-time foster to understand this breed, but correctly, properly, we set them up and just make sure they really have what it takes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. And so if people are interested in fostering, they contact you?
Yes. Or if they can go on LA Adopt, we are always sharing shelter dogs.
Yes.
If you're qualified, if you want to try fostering and save a life, just either email us or even just tag one of the dogs you see on our page, and we will reach out and see how we could help them and help the dog.
Or they might actually find the love of their life.
Yes, which is always our hope.
I
Right?
mean, that's the
Yes.
other thing. I'm struggling to not take Bosco home with me today. I don't have the capacity to do that, but I really, really want to. All right, so let's talk about Bosco.
Yes.
So what's his story?
Bosco is an owner surrender. He had been with his family since he was 8 weeks old. They had a few other dogs in the home. He wasn't getting along with one of them specifically. And so, as we talked about owner responsibility, rather than seek out training or extra help, they elected to put him down. So I think we had about 12 hours notice that they were,
The appointment was made.
the appointment was made.
So they weren't just, I have goosebumps even thinking about this. So they weren't just thinking about surrendering him. They were going to actually put him down
Yes.
just
Correct.
because they
got
couldn't
him
keep
to-
him.
Just because they couldn't keep him and manage the situation within their home. So they had made an appointment for noon on a Sunday, right?
On Sunday, yeah.
Noon on Sunday, and Yoko and I threw Hail Marys out there and hoped for the best. And 11:30, we finally pulled together a solid plan, which included myself fostering, training, medical care, and all of these things we have to have in place prior to. Otherwise, we're just pulling willy-nilly and it doesn't work.
Yes.
So all these things came into place at 11:30. I called the family and said, "We will take him. Stop whatever you're doing. We will take him." And they had literally just given him the pre-sedation drugs to put him down.
I can't even deal with this.
No,
It's heartbreaking what he's been through.
It's incredible. He came to me as a very, very scared, confused dog. This is the only family he had ever known in his entire life. He had injuries from the fight that occurred. They didn't plan to treat them because they were going to put him down.
Yep.
So we got him all the medical care that he needed, and he stayed with me for about 2 weeks while he healed and kind of got used to the situation. We sent him off to the amazing Stephen Baldwin for a month. Since the moment he's arrived at my home to this moment now, I've not seen 1 ounce of aggression in him.
Nothing.
Reaction, nothing.
Yeah.
So in this situation, I'm grateful for the family to have reached out to me.
Yes.
But I cannot imagine a world that he is not existing in, because
He's only a year.
he's only a year and a half.
The baby.
I'm still stuck at the fact that rather than look for a new home or, somewhere for him to go or training,
Right.
I realize it's an investment in time, but I
And
can't.
it happens more often than we know. I mean, because there are families that don't reach out, and thankfully this family had known me through Instagram and through Facebook, so they did reach out. I just can't imagine or wrap my head around the number of them that we are not contacted for.
So Bosco didn't have any sort of training or anything like that when you got him? Or
They had sent him to obedience training, which is learn how to sit, learn how to paw, learn, but nothing to deal with any type of behavioral issues.
To work on him.
Right, to work on him and what
Yeah.
he's about, because every dog is an individual.
Right,
I react to
exactly.
things different than Yoko, and you and I probably react
Absolutely.
to things differently. So it's about learning about the dog himself, and there was no desire to go that step further and invest in Bosco.
And that's the extra work we're looking for in people.
Yeah,
right.
The extra mile, that
Right.
to understand the dog, what's their behavior, what's their needs.
Yeah.
And I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that goes with every animal. I once had an elderly dog that was deaf and blind, but I would still take her out walking. Whenever people came and said, "Oh, dogs," I would let them pat my other dogs, and I would
Right.
immediately take the older
Yes.
one out of the equation because I didn't know how she was going to react.
Right.
So for me, it was being a responsible owner, understanding her limitations.
Right. Right.
That's exactly what it
That
is,
is
though, right?
understanding his
Yeah.
limitations. Even coming into here today, I said, he's nervous. Give him a moment, and he'll get there. And look at him now.
Well, he was fine from the moment I got Bosco was on the couch just chilling and saying hi to everybody as we all came in. So
Yes.
he did amazingly. So Bosco is still looking for a forever home.
He is. He is still looking for a forever home. This guy is the sweetest guy. He's got the funniest personality. He gets along with other dogs. Like I said, I have 4 of my own, and he romps and plays with them.
Great.
No issues. He loves kids. I have a son. A lot of it, I think, what we're looking for is environment. What type of environment are you going to be raising him in, or will he be living in? He doesn't need a whole ton of exercise, but he loves hikes and going out. He's not high maintenance by any stretch. He's very treat motivated, so that helps a bunch.
Well, it makes it so much easier to train.
Absolutely. And he's come with training and a lifetime of support from us and from Stephen Baldwin, who has committed to helping him transition into his new home, getting him acclimated, introducing him to his new fur siblings if needed. There's an entire support system that he comes with his adoption.
And what's a feeling for you as a foster mum when you see them end up in an incredible forever home?
It's all worth it. It is what I live and breathe for. Everybody thinks, oh, Bosco's gonna stay, or or all my fosters, they always say that. Like, I can't. I'm at my max.
We would love to.
I like being married, so fosters are good, but it's the most rewarding feeling, especially for a dog like Bosco, where we literally threw a Hail Mary and it worked. And he's
a good dog.
And he's
a good dog.
He is amazing. I've only known him for about an hour, but he is just the most divine, gentle soul.
Yeah.
And he's so curious. He's just
exactly.
very
everything that's going on.
Very he wants to know what's going on, who's around. He is just a very sweet dog. Very sweet dog. And he's funny. He's so funny. He doesn't know how to use a chuck-it. So, to throw the ball.
Yes.
So I reached down.
Apparently, neither do I.
So you use a chuck-it so you don't have to touch the icky ball. So you bring down the chuck-it to get the ball, and he grabs the whole chuck-it with the ball and proceeds to run back and forth with the ball.
Hey, whatever works.
Whatever works, and he loves it.
And that's Bosco.
But that's just Bosco. He
Beautiful.
has his little quirks about him.
Yeah.
But he is the most divine creature, like you said. I mean, look, he's just.
Well, it's very chill. Now, Yoko, for LA Adopt, you're not funded by any government agency or anything like that. So how do you keep the funds coming in to keep LA Adopt running? Because it's such an important organization.
Thankfully the community donates and the community support. We also have rescue apparel we make for the animals, and 100% goes back to the animals. And so we do rescue apparel, we do fundraisers, events. Many ways we try to think of ideas to crowdfund for the animals. We're definitely like to be involved and just try to. We would also love to do like a marathon in the future and like do
wow.
like just community events to really bring awareness and the people together. And that's like main. I feel like eventually that will come, but right now I think our mission is just to save lives, and if people believe in what we do,
Well, so for everybody out there, if you can't foster, because sometimes there are limitations,
Yes.
please feel free to donate. Head to LA Adopt to look at that. The apparel is amazing. I do have a hoodie. It says I speak dog, and people literally stop me on the street and say, I love your hoodie. And it's a little odd when I don't have a dog with me, but I still speak dog.
You do, yes.
Okay, so just to wrap it up, normally I ask my guests to share something with us about themselves that we wouldn't know, but today I want to ask, is there something about Bosco that we wouldn't know?
He has the best wiggle butt
Yeah.
ever. He literally bends his body in half and does a cha-cha. He does a double step on one side, then reverses and it does a double and it goes back. But it's by far.
He would win the contest.
He would. World champ wiggle butt.
Okay, so it sounds like whoever Bosco ends up with is going to be an incredibly lucky family. Ann, Yoko, Bosco, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Sady Says.
Thank you.
Thank you.